Welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. Today's video is sponsored by Policygenius. So I am 57 years old. Now, if you would have told me when I was a kid, let's say when I was 7 years old, that 50 years into the future, I would be cutting my grass with a battery-powered zero-turn mower, I would have thought you're crazy. Never would have believed it. Heck, you could have told me that 15 years ago, and I wouldn't have believed it. Now, when I was a kid, you could have told me I'd have a flying car by now. I definitely would have believed that. I was convinced we would have flying cars by the time I was like 30, and that's never happened. Probably from the show The Jetsons. I think a lot of kids believe that, just never really materialized. And by the way, do you know that that show was only made for about a year and a half, and then they played the reruns for decades after that? But anyway, here I am cutting my grass with a battery-powered zero-turn mower. So this is the Stihl RZA 760. Now this isn't my mower. I'm just trying it out. And to be honest, I don't know what to think of this thing yet. So far, I can tell you one thing for sure. This thing is fast. I mean wicked fast. I think the top speed is about 16 miles an hour. And I think from 0 to 16, there's not much out there that's going to run with it. Now, obviously, you're not going to mow at 16 miles an hour, but let's say you have a lawn care business and you're mowing a bunch of properties in a housing development and you end up a half mile from your truck. At the end of the day, you're going to beat everybody back with this thing. Now, as far as battery life goes, I can't tell you a lot about that personally. From what I heard, it's pretty impressive. But right now, I just mowed this little section of lawn right here. And according to this, I used 1% of the battery life. Right here, you can control the speed. So far, I'm running it right in the middle. This is your blade speed right here. I have it set at 3/4. But listen to these things take off. We'll set it the lowest setting. Engage the blades. Now we'll go up one. Sounds like it's going to take off. Now, do I think this is going to replace a gasoline-powered mower? No, I don't believe that. But I do think it would be a good fit for a lot of people, just not everyone. Now, one thing I was thinking from a maintenance standpoint, you know, there's no belts, there's no spindles. The deck has 3 direct drive motors on it for the blades. There's a few grease fittings on it. Now, charge time on this, if you can plug it into like 240, it'll charge overnight. If you plug it into a regular outlet, you're looking at about 22 hours from what I'm told. However, you can probably mow about, you know, in our area here, this is what they're telling me and what I've been reading, probably about 6 hours straight mowing time, okay? Which I never do that. Usually an hour and a half tops is what it takes me to cut my grass, get down to my mom's place and cut hers. So, you know, you mow about once a week this time of year. The charging really wouldn't be a big deal. Now, if you're a commercial guy, you definitely want to plug it into that 240, and then it would be ready to go the next day. 6 or 7 hours mowing time. I don't know. You know, I'm just going to have to run it more. I'll have this for a couple weeks, and I'll report back on it. But tomorrow morning, we'll cut everything else here, see what kind of battery life we have left. And I'm anxious to see how it does on the hills compared to the other one that I was running. You know, a lot of that has to do with how the weight is distributed. This has the battery underneath the seat, kind of a low center of gravity, which is good. It probably is going to be close to the same, but who knows? I may end up down in the trees with it, or I may not. This is where you charge it, right there. Now this is something interesting. I asked about this, what that's for. I guess coming down the road, they're going to have some attachments for this that'll plug in right here. Say you have a big leaf blower or something. You know, I'm sure they'll have several different things that you can hook right up to it and plug it right in. It's some machine, that's for sure. But anyway, like I said, we'll do some mowing with it, and I'll report back. So last night, I got all the grass cut with this. It took about, I don't know, 35 minutes, something like that. See how much battery we used. Down to 73%. I think when I started, it was at 93%. So that's not too bad. Plus, I was just kind of playing around with it a little bit as well. But the battery life seems pretty good. But I learned a lot about this thing. Now, this is just my opinion, but there are some people out there that don't like running a zero-turn mower. And Melissa is actually one of those people. She just doesn't like how quick they react. Now, if you're one of those types of people, you're gonna like this one even less because it reacts very fast. I mean, it's not uncontrollable or anything like that, but you gotta pay attention. If not, you're going to be replacing a heat pump when you smash into it behind your house. I ran it for, like I said, 35-40 minutes. I'm on to it right now, but there's some things to get used to and some things that are really cool about this. For example, there is like no vibration at all. I didn't even realize how much vibration is on a gas-powered zero turn until I ran this. You know, you got belts and all kind of stuff going on. A gas engine on a regular zero turn. This, there is like zero vibration at all. I mean, there's none. It's just, I mean, you can hear the blades turning and all that, but sometimes you check and make sure there's clippings coming out from underneath it. It's really strange. It is. I like it. I do. But like I said, if you don't like a zero turn, this is not going to make you like them anymore. You're probably going to like them even less because it does react quickly. Now, somebody used to running one of these, somebody that likes zero turn mowers, and there's a lot of people out there like that. I do think it would be a good fit for a lot of people. Like I said, I used about 20% of the battery and I was screwing around. I think I could probably cut my grass, run down to my mom's, cut hers twice. Do all that twice before it would need charged. I don't know. I'm sure later on I'll have more thoughts about this. It's interesting though. It really is. But that no vibration thing is pretty neat. It is. If you ever have a chance to run one, just hop on it for a little bit and try it out. Like I said, everything runs like a normal zero turn. It's just, it reacts quick. And I was mowing in mid-range. That high range, that's for travel speed only. I mean, it thing's a rocket ship. It is. Now, I wasn't cutting any real tall grass or anything like that, but I never had an instant where it even began to feel like it was bogging down or anything like that. There's loads of power. Let's see what we got in here. Oh, a little USB and a, what's that little one? Little micro USB, whatever it's called. Stick your phone in there, charge it up. Not one, but two cup holders. The seat is comfortable, but this does not have the suspension like the last Stihl zero turn that I was running. The seat is very comfortable. There's some suspension built into that, so it's a little bit bumpier than that 900 series I was running. But I don't know. I just don't know what to think of this. I never thought I would even consider one of these, but I'm still not saying that. It's pretty impressive. It really is. Even has a little storage tray here in the back. Folding ROPS on it. Lights all over it. When I finished up mowing last night, it was getting dark. I didn't really need them, but I was running the lights. People driving down the road probably wondering what this thing was. I had the flashers on and everything. But anyway, I'll probably mow with this a couple more times. I'm anxious to take it down to my mom's place and cut down there and see how it does on the side hill. Her lawn is a lot steeper than mine. Hopefully I don't end up in the trees when I do that. You know, one time, the first time I started running a zero turn, I had a bad boy, which Levi has it now. And I think it was like the first one in the commercial lineup. So maybe like a prosumer, I don't know. Decent mower, he's still using it today. But I was just getting after it, you know, and I'm on that side hill in front of my mom's house, and I've run equipment my whole life, and I'm just getting after it. Next thing you know, this front tire started down the hill. I was in the trees. I mean, like right now. So that was a lesson that I quickly learned on running a zero turn mower. You just kind of got to get used to them. You do. They're quick, you know, and they're a one trick pony, which is the other thing when it comes to these. You know, they cut grass. Like I said, there's a few options that they'll be coming out for this and a few other things you can do. But basically, if you're going to spend a lot of money on a zero turn mower, a nice one, you know, you need to justify it by having to cut a lot of grass, and you can justify it by the amount of time that you save. You know, maybe you like cutting grass on an old riding mower, go out there all day long. I do not like that at all. I don't like cutting grass as much as I used to. I used to kind of enjoy it way more than I do now. Now, I just want to knock it out and go do something else, which is where these things really shine, because you don't spend a lot of time on them. Earlier, I mentioned that today's video was sponsored by Policygenius, and I want to thank them for sponsoring today's video. If you're trying to decide whether or not you need life insurance, I'll tell you what I did. I thought to myself, do I have anyone at all that relies on my income? And the answer to that was yes. Next question, do I have large amounts of gold buried in the backyard? The answer to that is no. So at that point, I decided I needed life insurance. Now, when trying to find the right life insurance policy for you, it may seem a bit overwhelming, but with Policygenius, it's really not. Policygenius is the country's leading online marketplace for insurance. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family a financial safety net starting today. Policygenius is very convenient. You won't have to spend a lot of time to find the right policy for you. Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who'll walk you through the process step by step. Easily compare your options by getting quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. Now, something else to consider is this. If you already have life insurance through your employer, it may not be enough to meet your family's needs, and that policy may not go with you if you leave your job for any reason. Policygenius gives you unbiased advice. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/outdoorswiththemorgans or click the link in the description to get multiple life insurance quotes for free and see how much you could save. Well, if you're wondering why I didn't have anything to say during that sequence of events there, it's because I was trying to figure out what to do. That was sketchy. Did not go as planned. However, it's on the ground, no damage. Let me show you what happened. So you see this wrench here and this small rope. You don't buy this at Bailey's, by the way. I made that myself. I wanted to toss this rope through the Y of that tree. So that was up there a good 30, 35 feet probably. And I fell short and it wrapped around this little limb right here. Well, I was going to pull it down and try again. And when I pulled on it, just with this little rope right here, I heard this thing crack down here at the stump. I had no idea it was in that bad a shape. I just didn't pay attention to it. There's a good lesson to be learned here. When you see these dead ones, get them down before they get in this bad a shape. But anyway, I heard it crack right here and I thought, oh boy, this isn't good. So I moved the Jeep over there and I used the winch. And what I did, I walked around the tree three times to make sure this little tiny rope right here wasn't going to come out. And then I hooked this to a strap and then I hooked it to the winch on the Jeep. And my thinking was, I mean, initially the plan A was to pull a bigger rope up in the tree, and then I was using the wireless remote for the winch on the Jeep, and I was going to cut it with a saw and pull it that direction in this kind of an opening here. I don't really have an opening here. That was the initial plan, but once I heard that thing crack down there, I didn't want to get anywhere near it. And although that rope is a tiny, tiny little rope, I mean, it's got some strength to it, I figured I would just pull it with the Jeep, stand out of the way, and what I thought was going to happen, the top was so brittle and so weak, I thought it would just fall straight down, but the whole thing came over. It broke right off. I think, man, I should have taken that down a while ago. I think you could have almost pushed that tree over by hand. Probably not, but close to it. I had that leverage with that little rope, so I just got out of the way. I knew it was going to get hung up in this oak tree, but that little dead tree has no weight to it at all. It didn't hurt anything on it. And so I pulled it down. It got hung up on a limb up there, which I kind of expected. I was just glad it was on this side of the tree and not on that side of the tree closer to the house. And then I just went and got the excavator. I always have that in my back pocket. The excavator can get you out of a lot of trouble. So instead of having to, try to chunk this down in pieces when it was hung up, I just pulled it out and she's on the ground, and I'm glad. Then I just popped that stump out there. I cut that tree down probably 15 years ago, so it came right out of there. But all this mess right here, this old river rock, this is all going to come out of here when we, put the road in here and start stoning the road. So we're getting close to being able to do that. We had some rain today. Really nice, gentle rain, which is nice for the grass that I planted and the food plot. But yeah, someday this week, needs to dry up just a little bit. Fix up my ditches out here a little bit. One more culvert pipe towards the end. And then I think I'm going to take some time and, it's only going to take a couple hours. But I'll use the tilt bucket on the excavator and clean up all the edges. And I figure if I went this far, I might as well finish it off right. Clean up all the edges. Then we'll build this last section of road through here. That's not going to take much at all. Basically skin the topsoil off. And then we can start stoning. What I'll probably do is use my dump trailer. Yeah, I'm going to dump a couple triaxle loads of stone right in the parking lot. Then I'll load the dump trailer and I'll tailgate it on with that. We're going to use 2B limestone first, and then I'll use 2A limestone on top of that. Probably going to have to rent a roller as well. Not going to use geotextile on the road. This section through here, who knows, maybe I'll put some number 3 rock down first, but from here out it's solid all the way out, so I don't see a need for the geotextile. Plus, I've mentioned this a bunch because every time I talk about putting stone down on a road, people bring up the geotextile, and I am a huge fan of it in the right situation. But if you use it, you got to plan on putting a lot of rock down. You got to cover it with at least 4 or 5 inches of stone. And then if you ever want to do anything down the road, like out here, who knows, we may be running conduit out there one day for electric or something. If you dig it up or you regrade it, you get into that fabric, it's a big mess. And basically, I'm just not going to need it out here. I have all that shale down. It's good and hard, and it'll be just fine. Well, I figured while I was on a roll, I would take this one down as well. Definitely have some cleanup to do here, but you can see this is the other dead one that was in the yard. That one worked out pretty good. Now this end right here, I had to be real careful with it because it's dry, weak, and brittle, but I just kind of eased into it with the excavator, and I was watching up the tree and watching down at the base as well, and I could see it lifting up right away. Wasn't taking much, so nice and easy. I got it coming this direction right into this opening here where I wanted it, and it's on the ground. We will clean this up tomorrow morning, but there's lots to clean up here. Like I said, this thing is just, I can't believe how quick these went. Both of these trees were still alive, I think last summer, and then by fall, even before the leaves fell, these didn't have any on it and they were dead. This one's in better shape than that other little one. That was really bad, but yeah, it didn't even hit the slide there. I thought I may have some collateral damage right there, but we managed to avoid it as well. And she is on the ground. Kind of hate tearing everything up like this, but you got to get these down. And I figured while I did that other one, I might as well do this one as well. So that's good. I can breathe a sigh of relief. By the way, people have asked about this before. This little playset thing here. I built that, man, it's been a long time. You can tell how long because it says Hunter, Levi, and Hannah. It's not like we didn't like Eva back then. This was before she was born. And she's going to be 20 this December, and this is probably up a couple years before that. I mean, it's probably close to 25 years old. It needs cleaned up. We have been debating tearing it down. We have the grandkids, but maybe just building like a new one, playhouse or something a little bit nicer. That's on the to-do list as well, but it's actually held up really well. I put all those posts in the ground. I think there's 14 of them. And dug all those holes by hand. That was a job. As you can see, you don't have to get down very far till you get into that shale right there. But yeah, probably get another 10 years out of it if you cleaned it up and stained it, but we'll see. But anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. I want to thank Policygenius for sponsoring today's video, and I appreciate you guys being here, and I will catch you on the next one.